Hello everyone, welcome to Making Mara. I'm Mara, and today I'll be making custom miniature figures commonly used in tabletop role-playing games like Dungeons & Dragons and Warhammer. This is my first time painting these, so I have two smaller figures, a ranger guy and a sorceress lady, and I also have a larger stag, which should be easier to paint since it's a little bit bigger. So I'll be starting with him as my tester before moving into the smaller figures. Something that stopped me from painting these figures in the past is how tiny they are. It seems like a little mistake can go a long way, but I'm excited to try it today, so let's unbox this guy. Here he is, with his base that I'll glue him to later. Alright, so all of these figures are primed, but I was told that I should wash them before painting them to get rid of any residue that might be on them. So I'll do that and we'll get into it. Alright, so I've washed him with a little soap and water and let him dry, so there's nothing for it but to get into the painting. I used acrylics in thin layers to paint him, then dry brushed on several layers of detail to add depth to his fur and antlers. I also created the moss he is standing on with airbrushing. And here are the results. This is before varnish or gluing on his stand, but I really loved how he turned out and felt very confident moving forward into the next figure, which I decided would be the sorceress lady. Something I didn't think about is that the stag doesn't have as much detail that needs to be painted really carefully, so I think I was a little more confident going into the sorceress than I should have been. Adding the details proved to be more difficult than I thought, especially to her face, which is the size of a pinhead. I also thought it would be cool to make the flame she's holding blue and have that reflecting on her clothes. I think I could have executed that a little bit better, but as you can see I ended up making a mistake on her face and decided to lean all the way into it by having black goop dripping from her eyes, so she's a little bit more evil looking than I had originally intended. But art is about mistakes, and I think she's still cool, if a little bit less refined than I would have liked. So using all of the things I had learned over both of my previous tests, I started painting the ranger. With him I really focused on keeping the color palette cohesive, so I mixed some of my browns into my greens and reds to mute them and make them seem a little bit more appropriate for a man who presumably spends a lot of time outdoors ranging. I'm not sure why he's holding a gopher, but it's really cute, if a little impossible to paint. I feel like it would take a microscope and a single hair to get any kind of detail on that little guy, and then you really wouldn't be able to see it anyway. But in the end, I think the ranger came out really well for how much detail he has on him. I added some brass accents for his buckles and rivets, which added a touch more realism in my opinion. So now that everyone is finished, our stag, our sorceress lady, and our ranger with his little gopher, it's time to varnish them and glue them to our bases. So I'll go do that and be right back. So here they are! I varnished them with 2 layers of gloss varnish and 1 of matte varnish, and then superglued them to their bases. I'm so proud of how they came out, especially for never having done this before. I feel like I learned a lot and ended up with 3 little miniatures that I really like, surprises and all. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video when I make something else. Bye bye.